Hello, is my audio clear, friends? Hello, 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 hello. Hello. Yes. Namaste, Namaskar, Assalamu alaikum, and Vanakkam, friends. As part of today's lecture, we will be discussing the concept of Doctrine of Election as under Section 35 of Transfer of Property Act. This class is a live class. This is exclusively available on India's largest education platform, that is Unacademy Judiciary. Now, let's see. Let's see the concept of doctrine of election. Friends, I would like to suggest you to keep a barrack with you. Okay, please kindly go through section 35 of the Act. Okay, section 35 of Transfer of Property Act. The title of section 35 of the Act is election when necessary. Okay, friends, if you want to compete with thousands of aspirants and to stand out from the crowd, get Unacademy Judiciary subscription today. Unacademy is the India's largest education platform. It has been offering various plans for plus subscribers, for iconic subscribers, etc. Friends, 1 month plan, 3 months plan, 6 months, 12 months, 18 months, and 24 months plans are available. These plans are available for plus subscribers. You can use any of these plans based on your time and budget. Okay. If you choose 1 month plan, the price per month is very high when compared to if you subscribe for 24 months. Here, if you subscribe for 24 months, the price per month is very less. Okay. These are the advantages. Apart from this, friends, if you use my referral code SUBHANLIVE SUBHANLIVE, you will get 10% of offer in plus subscription as well as iconic subscriptions of India's largest education platform, that is Unacademy. Friends, let's start the judiciary services examinations with Unacademy. Get your subscriptions today. Use my referral code SUBHANLIVE SUBHANLIVE for 10% of offer. Friends, section 35 is relating to the doctrine of election. However, the title of section 35 of Transfer of Property Act is election when necessary. Okay. This is the title. This is the title, friends. Let's see the ingredients of section 35 of the Transfer of Property Act, which is dealing with the concept of election when necessary. Where a person professes to transfer property, these are the important ones. A person professes to transfer the property which has no right to transfer. This is the important. He has no right to transfer. Even though he has no right to transfer, even though he has no right over an immovable property or movable property to transfer, but he professes to transfer such property, and as part of the same transaction, this is the also important one, same transaction, he confers any benefit on the owner of the true owner of the property. He confers some benefit on the owner of the property. Such owner must elect either to confirm such transfer or to dissent from it. He has two options. He may elect to confirm what the party has transferred, even though without having any right to some other party, whether he has to confirm such transfer or to dissent from it. He has two options. He has to elect any one of those. Therefore, this is known as doctrine of election. Therefore, the true owner must either confirm such transfer or, this is the important one, to dissent from it. If it dissents from it, he shall relinquish the benefit so conferred. He cannot take both. He cannot take what the person who professes to transfer confers. He can't get any benefit. What was conferred by the person who professes to transfer any property of him without having any authority to transfer the same. Now, he has to relinquish the benefit so conferred, and benefit so relinquished shall revert to the transferor or his relatives if it has not been disposed of. This is the rule, friends. This is the rule of election as stipulated under section 35 of Transfer of Property Act. Okay. Now, friends, there is a proviso, subject nevertheless, where transfer is gratuitous. The transferor has before election died or otherwise become incapable of making a fresh transfer. One thing is, but before the election died or otherwise become incapable of making fresh transfer. And in all cases where transfer is for a consideration, so the charge of making good to the disappointed transferee, here there are disappointed transferee, the amount or value of the property attempted to be transferred to him. It is very clear. It's very clear, friends. According to this fair study of all these ingredients as stipulated under section 35 of Transfer of Property Act, there is doctrine of election or election when necessary. These are the essential elements. Now, let us have a look. Let's have a look at the essential ingredients based on this one. Now there is a Mr. A has some property. Okay, he has some property. This property belongs to Mr. A only. Okay, this house belongs to Mr. A. Now there is another house This house belongs to Mr. B. Friends, kindly understand this one. A plus this house, this structure denotes this is A's property. This structure denotes this is B's property. Okay, I think you got the point. Now, C is a third party. These are the facts. Now, Mr. A has transferred his property, not his property. He has transferred the property of Mr. B to Mr. C. At the same time, in the same transaction itself, Mr. A has transferred his own property to Mr. B. This house belongs to Mr. A. This house belongs to Mr. B. Now, as per section 35 of Transfer of Property Act, Mr. A is the absolute owner of his own property. This property belongs to Mr. B only. B is the absolute owner of this property. A, even though he is having no right to transfer this property, he professes to transfer this property belongs to Mr. B to one Mr. C. In the same transaction, as a compensation to this one, Mr. A transfers his own property to Mr. B. Now, friends, as per this one, Mr. A has transferred his property to Mr. C. Mr. A has transferred Mr. B's property to Mr. C. In the same transaction, Mr. A has also transferred his own property to Mr. B. Now, Mr. B has two options. Mr. B has two options. The first option is he can retain his own property. No, I don't want to transfer my property through you to Mr. C. You have no authority. You have no right to transfer my property. He may stick on that statement, or he may choose another one. He may elect another option that, okay, you can transfer my property to Mr. C. I want to retain your own property, that is this property. Thus, Mr. B has two options. He has either to accept the transfer made by Mr. A to Mr. C in respect of his own property, in respect of B's own property. He may give assent to the transaction by accepting A's property in this same transaction. Or in other words, now let's understand this concept with another one. Okay, now this is a Mr. A, Mr. B and Mr. C are there in a shop, okay, in a particular mobile shop. Now, in this shop, there is a mobile phone. It is a new mobile phone. It is a new mobile phone having all the features. B has paid a sum of 20,000 rupees towards its price. Now it is in the box. Now this phone was kept in a box. Mr. C is A's son. Okay, C is Mr. A's son. C also wanted for the same. He desired for this mobile phone. He has revealed his desire to his father, Mr. A. Daddy, I want that mobile phone. He has revealed his desire. Okay, in order to satisfy Mr. C's desire, Mr. A has given an option to Mr. B that you may take another phone. You may take this phone. This is a foldable phone. This is a foldable phone. You can purchase this one. Its worth is more than 35,000. I am ready to pay the bill for this mobile phone. Okay. I am ready to pay 35,000 rupees to you. But you have to give me this mobile phone. This mobile phone to my son. This is the offer given by Mr. A to Mr. B. Now, Mr. B have two options. He has to accept the offer given by Mr. A. Okay, if he accepts to receive this foldable mobile phone, which is worth of 35,000 rupees, he may lose his right over this property, this mobile phone. Or if you want to retain his right over this mobile phone, he may lose this offer given by Mr. A. This is simple logic, friend. This is a simple logic. This is a simple logic here. Similarly, in the same way, Mr. A has promised to Mr. C that I will register a house in your name. Mr. C has chosen Mr. B's house. Without approaching Mr. B, C has revealed his desire to purchase B's house in front of Mr. A. Then Mr. A has transferred this property belongs to Mr. B to Mr. C. In the same transaction, he has transferred his own property to Mr. B. Now, B has two options. He has to retain his own property, or he may select A's property. If he selects or elects Mr. A's property, he may lose his right over his own property. That is the rule. This is known as Doctrine of Election. This is known as Doctrine of Election. Now, in this case, friends, in this case, Mr. A is the transferor. Mr. B is the transferee. His property has been transferred. Therefore, he is a transferee. He has to elect. He has to elect. The doctrine of election is available only to Mr. B. C is a third party. Now, let's assume some other instance, friends, in the same case, in the same illustration, in this same illustration. If Mr. C gave consideration to Mr. A, now Mr. C has given an amount of 10 lakhs to Mr. A. Okay. Now, Mr. A has transferred B's property to Mr. C. In the same transaction, he has transferred his own property to Mr. B. Now, B has to elect either this house or this house. Okay, he may retain his own property or he may elect his property also. He has two options. Now, C has given 10 lakh rupees to Mr. A. Now, this is the consideration amount. This is the consideration amount. Okay, this is the consideration amount paid by C to Mr. A. Now, friends, If we see this one, where transfer is gratuitous and the transferor has before election died or otherwise become incapable of making a fresh transfer, and in all cases where transfer for a consideration to a charge of making good to the disappointed transferee the amount or value of the property attempted to be transferred to him. Now it is very clear that if Mr. B wants to retain A's property, okay, A's property, Mr. B has to pay either this 10 lakhs to Mr. C. Now, if there is no consideration amount, it is gratuitously given. Mr. A has gratuitously given this property to Mr. C, Mr. B's property to Mr. C. Now, under those circumstances, if Mr. B did not accept to transfer his own property to Mr. C, he want to retain his own property, C gets nothing. Therefore, C becomes a disappointed transferor. Sorry, a disappointed transferee. He gets nothing. A has promised to transfer B's property. In the same transaction, A has also transferred Mr. A's property to Mr. B, but B has chosen to retain his own property. Under those circumstances, he cannot satisfy his desire or his want to have Mr. B's house. Therefore, he may be treated as disappointed transferee. If he pays any consideration to Mr. A, he has every right to get back the consideration amount from Mr. A. In case he dies or he is incapable of giving the same, he can also recover the same from his legal heirs also. But if Mr. A has transferred Mr. B's property, or he professes to transfer Mr. B's property, but Mr. B elects to retain his own property, then C gets nothing. He gets only disappointment. Therefore, it is known as he is known as disappointed transferee. He is known as disappointed transferee. Friends, this is the concept of doctrine of election. Now, let's see the ingredients of the concept of election. Election, the doctrine of election was an obligation to choose between two alternatives or two inconsistencies. Where there is a clear intention on the part of the grantor that the grantee should not enjoy both. This is the concept, friends. This is an exception to Section 7 of Transfer of Property Act. Okay, this is an exception. What it says, what Section 7 of Transfer of Property Act says, who can transfer. Okay, friends, according to Section 7, if you go through Section 7 of Transfer of Property Act, Section 7 very clearly says that persons competent to transfer. Therefore, it is an exception. Who can transfer? The person who is the owner of the property can transfer, who has transferable interest in transferable interest or authority to transfer the same can transfer the property. Otherwise, he has no right to transfer. But this is an exception. Even though this property do not belong to Mr. A, this is exclusive property of Mr. B, but A has transferred, he professes to transfer this same to Mr. C, even though he has not having any right over the same. Therefore, it is known as Rajan Prayagraj ji. Good evening. Namaste, namaskar. Therefore, friends, this is an exception to Section 7 of Transfer of Property Act. Therefore, even though he is not competent to transfer, he can transfer. He can transfer in order to satisfy the desire of some other party. This is the one thing. Now, friends, let's see the essential ingredients. The essential ingredients of this section. The first essential ingredient is that a person transfers other property having no authority to transfer. Okay, a person transfers or professes to transfer another's property having no authority or without having any authority. Without having any authority to transfer. Here, in these two illustrations, what we have discussed, this property belongs to A, this property belongs to Mr. A, this property belongs to Mr. B. Now, A, without having any authority to transfer B's property, he transfers the same to Mr. C. Here in this illustration, Mr. B has purchased this mobile phone. Mr. A, even though he has no right to transfer this property, he has transferred the same to Mr. C, his own son. Thus, friends, okay. Friends, is my audio clear? Am I visible to you all? Am I visible to you all? Okay, thank you. Thus, this is the first essential element. A person transfers another's property without having any authority to transfer. Now, Mr. A has transferred another's property, means B's property, without having any authority to transfer. This is the first one. Now, Mr. A further transfers, he also transfers his own property in favor of the person whose property he transfers without having any authority. Therefore, he also transfers, he means Mr. A, also transfers his own property in favor of the person whose property he transfers without having any authority, in favor of Mr. B. Therefore, A transfers another's property. It means that this is the property of B. A transfers B's property without having any authority to transfer. Mr. A also transfers his own property in favor of the person whose property he transfers without having any authority. Therefore, he also transfers his own property to the person whose property has unauthorizedly transferred. This is the second essential element. The third essential element is these two transactions or these two transfers must be in a single transaction. This is the essential element. These two transfers must be in a single transaction or in a single deed. In a single transaction, whose transfers, that is A transfers B's property to Mr. C. In the same transaction, Mr. B also transfers his own property to Mr. B. Here, the entire thing will be in a single transaction. This is one transfer. This is another transfer. There are two transfers in a single transaction or in a single instrument or in a single deed. This is the third essential element. Now, the next essential element is the next essential element is the property. The person whose property was transferred may elect either his own property or the property transferred by the person who unauthorizedly transfers his property. Therefore, he has to choose, he has to elect. Therefore, this is known as doctrine of election. Now, the person whose property was transferred, here it means that Mr. B's property was transferred. Therefore, Mr. B has two options. He may elect to retain his own property, or he may elect to take the property given by the transferor who has transferred Mr. B's property unauthorizedly. Therefore, these are the essential ingredients, friends. Now, in this one, in this doctrine of election, we need to remember some more points. Now, this election may be express or implied. The election may be express election or implied election. Then the next essential element is that the person put to election has to make an election within 1 year. Now, this is also very important one. The person, it means as per our illustration, Mr. B, okay, put to election, or he has to select, has put to election or selection. The person put to election has to make an election within 1 year. Within 1 year. This is very important, friends. Next, where the benefit has been enjoyed for 2 years, then it may be presumed that he has elected that one. Okay. Where the benefit has been enjoyed for 2 years, then the law presumes that the presumption is that he has elected the property which or in which he has been enjoying. Okay. Therefore, it is very clear that the election may be express or implied. The person put to election has to make an election within 1 year. After expiry of 1 year, he can't get anything. Where the benefit has been enjoyed for 2 years, then the law presumes that he has elected that one on which he has been enjoying. Now, friends, here Mr. A has alienated Mr. B's property to Mr. C. In the same transaction, Mr. A has also alienated his own property to Mr. B. Now, Mr. B has not said anything, either impliedly or expressly. Now, he has been enjoying in A's property for a period of 2 years. He has been enjoying A's property for a period of 2 years. Then the law presumes that. Mr. B has given implied consent for the transaction. He has elected Mr. A's property. He has approved the single transaction where Mr. A has transferred Mr. B's property to C, and Mr. A has also transferred his own property to Mr. B. Then Mr. B has been enjoying Mr. A's property for a period of 2 years. Then the law presumes that Mr. B has elected A's property than his own property, that is B's property. This is the presumption, friends. This is the presumption with regard to section 35 of the Act. Now, these are the essential ingredients of section 35, friends. Then it is very clear from this section that where a person professes to transfer a property which he has no right to transfer, and as part of the same transaction he confers any benefit to the owner of the property, such owner must either select to confirm such transfer or to dissent from it. If he selects the latter one, he shall relinquish the benefit so conferred. Therefore, the benefit so relinquished shall revert to the transferor or his representative as if it had not been disposed of. Therefore, according to this one, A has transferred Mr. B's property to C. A has also transferred Mr. A's property to Mr. B. Here, B is the owner of the property. Here, Mr. B want to enjoy Mr. A's property. He has to relinquish his right to retain his own property. He has to relinquish all his rights over his own property if you want to take the benefit from Mr. A. Here, A has given this benefit, that is a house. Here, in the place of this house, he may give some money, or he may give some gold ornaments, or he may give some other property also, other mobile or immovable property also. He may give 10 cars or a private jet. There might be some consideration or some benefit from Mr. A's side. If Mr. B accepts the benefit of Mr. A, then Mr. B has to relinquish all his right over his own property. Therefore, This is known as doctrine of election. He has two options. He has either to retain his own property, or he may elect to receive the benefits from Mr. A by relinquishing his right over his own property. This is about doctrine of election. Here, this election may be either impliedly or expressly given by Mr. B, even though if Mr. B enjoys the property for a period of 2 years, then the law presumes that he has given implied consent. He has given implied consent to that transaction. Friends, the law also put a condition that he has to make an election within 1 year after the transaction, friends. Therefore, these are the essential elements. Now, doctrine of election is an obligation upon a party to choose between two alternatives or two inconsistencies. Therefore, a person transfers. Therefore, a person transfers another property without having any authority to transfer. He also transfers his own property in favor of the person whose property he transfers without having any authority. Then these two transfers must be in a single transaction. Then the person whose property was transferred may elect either his own property or the property transferred by the person who unauthorizedly transfers. This is about the doctrine of election, friends. This is an important concept under Transfer of Property Act. This is enumerated under Section 35 of TPA Act. This is also applicable to both the mobile properties as well as immobile properties. Friends, the free special classes have been taught by the top educators of Unacademy on every day, exclusively on Unacademy Learners platform. Friends, these free classes will cover Indian Contract Act, Civil Procedure Code, jurisprudence, Hindu law, Muslim law, Indian law, and all other personal laws, the constitutional law, Criminal Procedure Code, Indian Evidence Act, Indian Penal Code, and all other local laws of your respective states. Therefore, friends, apart from these subjects, Unacademy Judiciary has also been conducting free special classes by the top educators as per the syllabuses of your respective state judiciary services examinations. Friends, the expert Unacademy Judiciary's expert guidance for your judiciary preparation 2021 has been commenced. The top educators of Unacademy Judiciary have curated detailed batch courses to provide you with everything you need to crack your judiciary services examinations for the year 2021 and 2022. A comprehensive judiciary batch has been commenced its classes from 7th July onwards. Another batch has been started with the name of Rapid Revision Batch for Rajasthan and Haryana Judiciary Services from October 13th onwards. Friends, with the name of Judiciary Linking Batch, and another batch has been commenced its classes from 27th October onwards. Friends, from November 3rd onwards, expert batch for judiciary has commenced its classes. Friends, in the last month, that is on 17th November, Yoda 18 months foundation batch for judiciary services examinations has been commenced. Friends, apart from this one, from this month, the first of this month, from 1st December 2021 onwards, a 1-year batch, the name of Emerge, has commenced its classes. Friends, recently From 15th December onwards, Judiciary Mains Linking Batch has been commenced its operations. The classes are going on. Friends, you can join in any of these batches, and you will have the access to watch all the live classes if you join in any of these batches, and you will also have access to watch the recorded sessions of previous classes also. Why are you waiting for, friends? Block your calendar now and get an Unacademy subscription, plus subscription, or iconic subscription based on your taste and preferences. Friends, you can also use the code, my referral code SUBHANLIVE SUBHANLIVE for 10% of offer. Unacademy Judiciary has started Judiciary Iconic. Now it is a live and personalized plan, friends. It is exclusively available for Iconic subscribers, Judiciary Iconic subscribers. The specialty of this one is that there will be a live doubt solving session. You will get personalized one-to-one doubt solving with exam experts. This is a live doubt solving, friends. Here, one is to one live mentorship. One mentor will be assigned for you. One mentor will be assigned to one learner in order to get personalized expert guidance on exam strategy and to get help whenever you are stuck with regard to a particular subject or a particular topic. This is very helpful for the aspirants who are preparing for main examinations. Here, mains focused test series, main answer writing practice test with evaluation by the experts. This is another feature. Along with these personalized live features, the iconic Judiciary Iconic subscriber will get all the benefits of plus subscriber. Here, share the written answers of subjective and full length test practice for evaluation of subject matter. These are the also available for Judiciary Iconic subscribers. These are the benefits, friends. Coming to the features of special classes. These are the interactive live classes, friends. Live classes have been conducted by Unacademy Judiciary. These are the interactive live classes. You can attend the live class, participate in the live chat. You'll get your doubts cleared all during the class itself. There will be an option for polls for the learners. You can respond for the polls for better understanding of your topic. Here you can raise a hand. Even the plus subscriber can directly talk with the educators in the live class, and they can get their doubts resolved in the real time. See here, this option is also available for plus subscribers and iconic subscribers. Here, friends, you never miss any class. You will get notified for all the lessons, upcoming courses, and recommendations curated for you. You will get lecture notes also. You can download the lecture notes and get access to recorded sessions of live classes. You can revisit important topics whenever you need it for the same. At any time and anywhere, you can watch the live classes from your electronic devices or gadgets like mobile phone, TV, laptop, or tablet, etc. These are the benefits, key benefits, friends. If you get the plus subscription or iconic subscription, you will get all the access to all the services of Unacademy Judiciary. Okay, okay, friends, you will get all the access to Unacademy Judiciary, and you can also get the benefits like you will get the teachings of India's best educators. You will get interactive live classes. You can take the live tests and you can participate in the live quizzes. You will get the structured courses, friends. As per your syllabus, you will get the structured courses and PDF notes. These are the benefits. Friends, with the name of T20 mock test series on core subjects of judiciary, Unacademy Judiciary has been conducting T20 daily mock tests on the core subjects of judiciary, especially on IPC, CRPC, CPC, and Evidence Act. Here, friends, on every Monday in between 9 a.m. to 9:30 a.m. there will be a mock test on IPC. On every Tuesday in between 9 a.m. to 9:30 a.m. there will be a mock test on CRPC. On every Wednesday in between 9 a.m. to 9:30 a.m. There will be a mock test on CPC. Okay, Jatin Singh Ji, and Rajan Prayagraj Ji. Good evening. Good evening. Do you have any doubts regarding the subject? Okay, type your comments here and get your doubts resolved during this live session. Now, friends, in this live session, we have discussed the concept of doctrine of election as under section 35 of Transfer of Property Act. I think you understood this concept. If you have any doubts, type your comments here and get your doubts resolved during this live session. On every Thursday, there will be a T20 mock test series on Indian Evidence Act in between 9 a.m. to 9:30 a.m. Every Friday, there will be mixed bag series, friends. All the subjects will be covered in that T20 mock test. On every Saturday and Sunday, there will be a detailed analysis of all the tests in between 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. This is about these mock tests. Apart from this, friends, Unacademy Judiciary has started YouTube classes. It has started YouTube channel with the name of Unacademy Judiciary. My live classes are also available on exclusively on Unacademy Judiciary YouTube channel on every Tuesday, on every Tuesday and every Thursday at 9 p.m. onwards. Friends, you can also join in Unacademy Judiciary Telegram channel. You will get notified for all upcoming classes, upcoming courses from Unacademy Judiciary. Friends, subscribe Unacademy Judiciary, like the videos, okay, share these videos, suggest your friends, family members, and your colleagues who are preparing for judiciary services examinations about Unacademy Judiciary. These are the benefits of Unacademy Judiciary, friends. Today we have discussed all these concepts regarding doctrine of election. Okay, it's a concept with number of illustrations and the essential elements, the features, etc. Okay, friends, do you have any doubts? Friends, do you have any doubts regarding today's concept, that is doctrine of election? Okay. Shall I end the class, friends? Shall I end the class? Okay. Thank you very much. Stay tuned with Unacademy Judiciary. Subscribe Unacademy Judiciary channel. Stay tuned with Unacademy Judiciary. Thank you very much. Good night, friends. Good night. Take care. I wish you all the success in your